Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Office Podcast. I'm your host, Asan. Just want to thank everyone for tuning in to the last episode and everyone showing your continued support. It means the world to me. Today's episode, I'm going to be scouring the internet, or I've already scoured the internet, and I've found 15 episodes of The Office that people didn't like very much. I think this is very rare. I think 15 is quite a lot. I remember at least 5 or 6 I didn't like, but there's 15 apparently. So I'm literally going to just knock through them, give you my opinion on those particular episodes, and just let you know what I think about them. So episode number 1, or 15, starting off at the worst, or one of the worst, is the episode called Vandalism. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with the episode Vandalism, it is when the warehouse worker defaces Pam's mural. One of the later episodes in season 9, I believe, when Jim and Pam are having their issues. Jim's working away in Philly, and Pam gets commissioned to do the mural by the senator's office in the warehouse. And oh no, actually, was the senator's? No, I think the senator commissioned her to do something else. No, sorry. I can't remember who asked her to do the mural. I don't know. I think it's just Pam being Pam, just doing whatever she wants. But no, it's the one where she paints a mural and the warehouse work defaces it. And this episode is very vague in my memory. The later episodes of the series are a bit of a blur. I've not watched them as much as the earlier episodes, but I do remember it's the one where the audio guy gets involved and helps Pam when the guy is about to, I don't know, attack her or whatever. And Pam goes on a investigative journey to find out who defaced the mural. I agree. I think this was one of the weaker episodes in the series. Wasn't much of a narrative. I mean, the only significant thing was the audio guy kind of jumping in and protecting Pam. And again, there was significance in that because he illuminated some of the issues, or Pam illuminated some of the issues that her and Jim were having. Again, there was no need for this episode. It was a bit of a pointless episode. Him defacing the mural as well. There was no need for him to do that. Like they had no rapport. Him and Pam didn't have beef. There was nothing going on, and I'm not sure why it happened. Again, another filler episode in my opinion. But yeah, no, I agree. I think that was one of the worst episodes I think of the series for sure. Another one for me is Todd Packer, or not for me, sorry, the internet, everyone out there. But no, I have to agree. The Todd Packer episode where Todd wants to come back off the road. Holly is now back at the Scranton branch. And he basically wants to come back. Michael's, giving him a really good reference. Holly takes him on, and then he starts, doing his outrageousness. And he starts terrorizing everyone in the office. He's very inappropriate. Again, yes, I agree. This is another filler episode of that season. It doesn't really need to. Again, Todd Packer for me is another guy that doesn't really need to be in the show. And for me, this was definitely a filler episode. Nothing significant really happens. I think Michael finally realizes how much he doesn't like Todd Packer because he insults Holly a little bit. He calls her uptight. And I think the Office are able to get Holly on their side in this episode as well because, that she takes him on. Everyone, has this uproar about why is he coming back? He's not the guy. He shouldn't be here. He's inappropriate. And Michael takes him back, Holly takes him back, and then obviously by the end of the episode, they're sending him off to Tallahassee. That was a funny bit actually, where Dwight and Jim call him from Joe's office, and pretend to be someone from corporate calling him to Tallahassee, which was probably the funniest part of the whole episode. Jim and Dwight, working together once and for all. But yeah, I agree with the internet, man. This wasn't a great episode. It was pretty boring. I wasn't really a fan of it. The next episode on the list is an episode called The Christening. This is the one where Jim and Pam's daughter Cece is being christened, and Michael and Andy are about to go to Kimishko, I think it's called. And in Mexico, and this is because they want to do something crazy, spontaneous, outrageous, everything that Michael is, Andy wants to be, and they both jump on this bus to try and help, I think, build schools and homes and things like that in Mexico. This, for me, I agree, is not a great episode. It's pretty boring. It's centered around, the christening. It's centered around, them being out for the day, which is nice to see them away from the office. But it's not a funny episode. I mean, when Michael and Dwight are driving away, you know what's going to happen. It's a very predictable episode. And again, with I think the funniest part is when Michael's, using the Godfather voice to the Marlon Brando voice about being the Godfather, which was pretty good, pretty funny. And there's elements of it where, Jim has to put her in a t-shirt instead of her dress because he forgot the spare dress at home or whatever. Like, there's elements of it that are good. But for me, this is not a great episode. Again, probably one of the boring ones on the list. And I don't say that often about The Office, but it's not a great episode. It's really not. Another one on the list for me has to be, there's a few here that I'm going through. I'm just trying to vaguely remember which ones these are. But the ones I'm trying to really think about are the ones that I really didn't like watching. So one of the ones I would say, again, going through this list, Scott's Tots. That was another weird episode. It was funny how Michael made this empty promise to these kids about sending them to college and paying for their tuition and all of this other stuff. It was, it was funny, but it wasn't needed. And I think with The Office, I think they're very deliberate with the episodes that they have. And I think with a lot of the episodes, they are thoroughly entertaining. They're a 10 out of 10. The majority of them, I say maybe like 95% of the episodes for me are 10 out of 10. Even the slow burners, they're really good. The narrative is always there, but there's some that are just not needed. And I think Scott's Tots was another one that really wasn't needed. I think the show could have done without it. And it just, for me, I think some people like the weird, the weird episodes, the ones that, get the biggest laughs and things like that. And I don't know, it just wasn't for me. One of the other ones that I can remember is the Sweeney Todd episode. That was 50-50 for me. I think that I really enjoyed, seeing Andy in his element, singing, dancing, performing, whatever. It was very good. And him trying to get Aaron back and all that sort of stuff, that narrative. I mean, if I'm honest, I think that sort of narrative is better than the Jim and Pam one. I didn't enjoy that as much, but the Andy and Aaron one I think is a little bit better. But that episode as a whole, very good, I have to say. But again, there's parts of it that weren't. It was dragged out a bit too long for me. I think the bit where Aaron comes at the end with Cece and all of that was a bit dragged out, and then Michael being a bit bitter about not being Sweeney Todd, that was good too. But I feel like a lot of these episodes that are dragged out, they're really dragged out. There's some episodes you can kind of get away with, but there's others that don't really need to be in there. And I guess it's a good segue into another episode, which is The Banker. If you guys remember that, where the is it The Banker or is it The Auditor? I think it might be The Auditor, where everyone's basically been thrown out of the company. All the senior members have been thrown out, and the auditor comes in and basically just does an audit of the company. And he talks to Toby. He goes to the warehouse. He does his due diligence to make sure everything is safe for Sabre to take over. And again, not a very entertaining episode. It was a bit boring, if I'm honest. It was, it could have been better. I'm just trying to think of the key points. See, like, I've seen so many episodes recently. I'm getting them all mixed up with the ones that I'm actually trying to critique here. But yeah, it wasn't a great episode. It was, again, another filler. And I get why they put the fillers in there. You have to have kind of like the kind of more tame episodes in there. It can't be madness all the time. But I think that's what The Office is. It is just a ball of madness, which makes people love it even more. And I think for me, that's why I love the show, man. That's why it's such a good show. And I think it does, from season to season, get better. I think episodes here and there kind of, fall off a little bit. Characters fall off a little bit. But I think season to season, it does get much better. Like I said, season 1, not so great. Season 2, much better. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, elite. The best seasons. Season 8 kind of falls off a little bit. And not because of Michael Scott's departure. It's just, it feels like it's not consistent with what's happened the previous seasons. And then season 9 again, I feel like they're trying to do things too quickly. I think they could have got a season 10 out of it. And I believe had they done a season 10, that would have been the Jim and Pam narrative where Jim is in Philly and then he comes back. That could have been dragged out for a little bit longer. I think that could have done with another season, and certain other narratives as well could have done with another season. But all in all, man, like I said, love The Office. Can't complain overall about the show, the narrative, the characters, the storylines. But I think some of the episodes, they do try a little bit hard. And if I have to pick out of the list of the worst episodes, it's got to be Scott's Tots. That's a skippable episode. Like when you have when you listen to your favorite artist and you have like a skip track on an album, this is a skip episode of this series. I don't like Scott's Tots. It's not fun. Like I watched it for the first time how many of years ago it was, and it was just like, yeah, it's okay. It was a little bit underwhelming. But the rest of the series makes up for it. So it's all good. So I'm going to just pretend like Scott's Tots didn't even happen. But guys, that is the episode today. Thank you so much for watching or listening, wherever you're consuming this content on. I appreciate the support and I appreciate the love. There's new people, I believe, every week coming to the content and consuming it. And people have given me their feedback on it as well. I'm going to try and keep this going as consistently as possible. Like I said, in the last episode, I'm just figuring out a new format for this podcast. But bear with me. There will be more content and there will be a better format coming very soon. But in the meantime, keep supporting, keep listening, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace and love. Take care.